Hi, I'm John Fiddler of Modeler and welcome to the video tutorial of creation of this toy car within Solidworks. We're going to be showing you in today's tutorial how to create all the different parts for this car, so the back brick, front brick, steering wheel, wheels, chassis, and then we're going to show you how they come together within Solidworks, an assembly within Solidworks, and exactly how the program works, a beginner's guide. Do check out our website at www.modeler.co.uk along with our blog, where we'll be updating you on all the latest movements within the world of 3D. Okay, so let's get on with the tutorial today, guys, and we're going to explain a little bit about SolidWorks to begin with, how it works, the user interface, and the way that we can manipulate objects and create objects. We're going to start off, first of all, if we can look in here, by creating our first brick, which is our back brick. And the way SolidWorks works is we've got our what's called our history tree here, okay, a feature tree, and we use a number of different 3D features in order to create our objects. So we start here with an extrude, then another extrude, then a shell that basically shells out the object, and then another extrude. And these objects, these features all then come together to create the one finished piece. Each of these features though requires to start off with what's called a sketch, okay, and within those sketches we also need to add dimensions, okay, so this object will fully represent our finished, what our object will be, the sizing within real life, which is important. I mean, if for instance if we want to 3D print and so forth. Also, another important thing I will be talking about is our plane. So let's get on with the tutorial. Okay, so just click yes there. I can minimize that. I can now go to, when we're starting, we've opened SolidWorks, what we want to do is go File, New, okay, and then we got our selection here. We're creating a part, and as I said, once we've created all our parts, they are all then joined together within an assembly. So I'm going to click on Part, I'm going to go OK, and then we are going to start by drawing on a plane. Okay, which plane do we choose? This is important. Now if we look at my block, okay, my other brick here, I've chosen to draw it on my top plane. The way that you've got to think about it is, imagine the object sat on a tabletop, okay, so that will very much decide which kind of planes you're using. To start off with, we're going to use our top plane and extrude upwards for the first feature. Why do we need to think about this? I mean, later on we'll be doing something called rendering, where we apply materials to everything, lighting, and we'll render out the object, so therefore there'll be shadows and it'll look actually realistic, so therefore we can use this documentation for clients and so forth. So it's important that those shadows are falling in the right direction, so therefore it looks correct. So this is all depending on what orientation it is within SolidWorks. Also our GA drawings, when we're coming to take our different views, that's very important as well. So we'll go back into our part and we can start to create our first object. As I said, we want to first create a sketch in order to then we'll be able to use our extrude feature. So how do we create a sketch? Within our top plane, if we click on top plane, we get an option that says sketch. So we just want to click on sketch, okay, and then that brings us in to our sketching options. You can see up here that we're in a sketch. We can tell we're in a sketch because it says exit sketch up here, and all of our sketch features are available. To start with, we'll be using a couple of simple features, and then we'll move on as our tutorials progress into some of the more advanced features. Okay, so we always want to make sure that our part is orientated and centered, okay, so we want this axis here to be our center point. We can use up here, first of all, if we go down to center rectangle and click on that, we can use this to make sure that our square is orientated in the correct place. So we go click center rectangle, then we go down and we'll hover over our center point, click, and then drag out, and then that allows us, we roughly create the same shape that we need. Now at the moment we can move all of these, but as I was talking about, we really want to start adding dimensions so it represents the object within reality basically, okay, and how the object would be. So we're going to start by using our Smart Dimension tool. So if we click on our Smart Dimension tool, we click on one of the lines up here and click out of that, and then we can add dimensions in. So I'm going to add dimension 16. So once again, I click at the line, and then I click again and add dimension 16 millimeters. At the moment, we're working in millimeters. Now, if you're not working in millimeters, do make sure that you go and change back into millimeters by going up here, tools, okay, go down to options, document properties, go down to units, millimeters, click on millimeters, grams, second, okay, and you can select within here what options you want and click OK, and then we'll be working within millimeters. I'm always working in millimeters, so it's important to do so. So we've now got our 16 dimension there, 16 dimension there, millimeters. Now if I click on my isometric view, we're ready to do what's called an extrude, which is our 3D feature. We're actually ready to add our third dimension. So if I now can go exit out sketch, and now I can click up here. Once I've said we've got features, so if I click on extrude feature and I click over here, then we can add on, okay, different depths. And this within here, all we're going to do is add in a height of 10 mil and green tick that. Now we've actually got our brick, okay. So our first the main structure of our brick, and yes, we could save this as an STL file and print this straight off, okay. So now what we do want to do is start adding other features to this. What I will teach you about quickly now is how we can go about orientating this, okay? So within our software, how we can just basically move our brick, our 3D object about. So first of all, if you just click, if your mouse has got, make sure your mouse has got a middle mouse button, okay, with a roller on it, which is really important. First of all, if we want to rotate it around, if you hold down your middle mouse button and just rotate around, that allows you to do so. Also with the middle mouse button, we can zoom in and out, alright, okay. And then the last key, generally, if you hold down on Control and click on your middle mouse button, you can pan about the screen, okay, with your object. So those three are very useful. Also, you can use your arrow keys to orientate your kind of part around, okay. So those, for now, are pretty much the controls you're going to need to know. So once you've done that, now we can use those keys to just view our object in the orientation we want. So I want to make sure that I'm looking at it from above, because we want to use this top plane here. So if I just click on isometric just to get my kind of view back again, right, I know that that's my top plane then, the highest plane on the object. We can use now any of these created this part, we can use any of these to create a sketch within. We don't necessarily need these after we started creating our object. So what we're going to do now is create our next extrude, our circular extrudes on top here, okay, and then we'll go about shelling it and then add our final feature in. So as I said, we want to click on our top face, right click again, and we've got an option to sketch. Make sure you don't press edit sketch, okay. You want to go on sketch, hover over it if you're a bit unsure on what it is, click on sketch. Now I'm going to click on my space bar and go normal 2. And we can tell once again I'm in a sketch because it says exit sketch up here. Okay, so now I'm going to add in from my sketch tools a circle, and I'm going to click somewhere within here. Great. And what do we want to do? At the moment it's blue, okay. Blue means that it can move about. It's what's called underdefined within Solidworks. We want to make sure it's a certain. I know that dimension there, for instance, the diameter is 4 millimeters. I'm going to add that dimension by using the Smart Dimension tool. Okay, and also I'm going to add dimensions that will hold it into place. So I know that circle, the center of that circle, from this line here, so we can use the edges off of our 3D model, they don't necessarily have to be a sketch, is 4 mil. So if I click somewhere there, I go and click 4 mil, and now I'm ready to, I can do it the same with that side. Click on the circle, then click on this edge here. It goes orange when you can select it, and then we'll click on 4 mil. Okay, great. So we've got that. I'm just going to make this a little bit neater. If I just do that, great. So there we go. Now that's all set and ready to go. Now, a great thing about SolidWorks is we've got tools that allow us, we don't have to do those commands all over again. What we can use is the mirror entities to just basically mirror it about certain axis, okay? But first what we do need to do is put those axes in, and we need to make sure that we add center lines and not lines, okay? Because lines will basically begin to interfere with our 3D features. So if you go down to center line And now if I click on here, click on my center line and click to there, making sure the line is straight. Okay guys, that's really important. So if you can see that this little yellow line appears, that means it's straight, and then I'm going to just drag across to there. I've got two center lines now that I can basically mirror my object or my sketch about. So we'll click on mirror entities up here, click on my circle. I'm going to click on my mirror about tool, so I'll click, and within my mirror about I want to select my center line, and I'm going to green tick that. Then I'm going to repeat the process again, so mirror entities, making sure that copy, by the way, is selected, okay, and I'm going to select that circle, and select mirror about, and select my center line and green tick that. Okay, great. So now we can see if I just use my isometric, hitting on the space bar, I can get select my views up. Now what we can see is we've got our 4 circles. A good thing, why do we select copy? Now, if I change this dimension, we can change dimensions just by double clicking on them and go back to them at any time. But just change that to 4.2. Notice 4.2. Notice everything changes, okay? So these are all related, which is great, and it's really helpful for me. If something does change, it means I just don't have to go and do each one individually, basically, if something in the design does change. So, we're ready now to exit out of our sketch. Okay, I'm going to click on isometric view. Click on extrude again, and we want to select that sketch, so like so, and we're going to put a value of 2 mil in, okay, and that's all ready. Green tick that. Now we can see that every feature we do will appear up here, and we can go back at any time and edit the feature, okay, so I can change that to 12 mil, not that I want to, and we could also edit the sketch, so I can right click on here and go edit sketch and edit any of those sketches at any times, which is a great feature of Solidworks. Okay, now we've done that, now I'm ready to start creating, now we're ready to do what's called a shell of our object, because we want our thickness here, okay, and we're going to do our final feature. So, if we go to, just orientate it around so we can see the bottom, we click on shell. Now, in here, we want to click on Show Preview. We want to see what's going on before we green tick and give the go ahead. And also, Faces Remove. We want this area here to be removed, okay? So, so that it's open, basically. But notice nothing's really happening. We can't see anything. We've clicked this Show Preview. We should be able to see something in here. This is because this dimension here is too big, alright? So if I go up here and put 1 mil in, now notice that we get a representation of exactly what's going to happen on the object, which is great. I want that to be 1 mil. Select this face so this is removed away, and show preview. Okay, green tick that, and that's great. There we go. And we've got basically nearly completed on our brick. The reason why I added 1 mil in, this part would be probably injection molded. Okay, so the 1 mil thickness is pretty important. We don't want it too thick because it will waste material. So we're now ready to add our final feature. Now we've drawn on our top face here. We've got this bottom face we can draw in there. So I'm going to click in there. Once again, go sketch. Click on my spacebar, normal 2, and I'm going to go up to my circle feature again. Okay, and click from the center point. And I'm going to add a dimension to that of 5.4. Okay. So once we've got this, we can now then ready to offset. We can use another tool which is called offset. So if we click on offset and I click on there, notice it will offset at a certain distance. Once again, I want that distance to be 1 mil, but it's going in the wrong direction at the moment. So we want to make sure that reverse is ticked, okay? So there we can see we've got a offset distance of 1 mil. Our outer diameter is 5.4. So we're now ready to do our final feature, which is extrude. So exit out the sketch, go to extrude, select the sketch, okay. And now we're going to extrude this out to not 12 mil, but 9 mil, because we've got that 1 mil thickness on there. And then that will make that flush with here, okay. And green tick that, and there we go. So there we've got our, if we go to isometric, there we've got our brick. Now we're ready to save this. So we're going to go File, Save. Now we'll create a new file on a desktop. Okay, so I'm going to go File, New, Folder, Toy Car. Okay, _car, and I'm going to always put different folders in. So I'm going to have a 3 CAD folder. Okay. And we can put it in there. So I'm going to call this back underscore brick. There we go. Save. What I also want to do is add some colouring to this, because as I say, we are going to render this out later on within the tutorial, so we just might as well do this as we go along. And this is really simple. So if I select my black brick up here, so that's selecting everything, I'll go across here to my appearances. Now in appearances, I'm going to click down on this plus here. I'm going to go across to plastic, click on the plus, I'm going to high gloss. Now down here we can see all the different colours. I'm going to select a red. You can select a different colour if you want to. Right click and go add appearance to cart, and notice that colours it. It'll also add, when we go to rendering, you can see a shiny kind of finish there. We'll add that shiny finish in the render. Okay, so now we're ready to just, if I go file, save that again, and we're ready to start moving on to the next part of the tutorial, which be the base brick within the car. Right, now we're ready for the second part of the tutorial, guys, which is going to be creating our base brick. So if I just open this up here, we can see exactly which part we're going to be creating. And it's going to be using the similar features that we've used in the previous tutorial. So here we go. So first of all, we're going to start by going File, New, Part, OK. And we're ready now. If I just maximize that to start by drawing once again in our top plane. So we're going to go Sketch. And we're going to be using very similar workflow to the last back brick, although we will be learning some new tools and tips. So first of all, we're going to create our center rectangle from the origin point again. I'm going to click anywhere within our work area. Go Smart Dimension, guys. I'm going to click on the line here, and we're going to input a dimension of 64. Okay. Now if we zoom in a bit, I'm just going to drag that down. We can get it more within our workspace. And also 64, and across it's going to be 16 millimeters. So now once again, our part is fully defined. We've added enough dimensions. Okay, so we can exit out of the sketch. If I click on my spacebar and go isometric view, and I go across to extrude, and I'll click on the lines, okay, and this time we're going to add extrude the feature by 3 millimeters, and then I'm going to green tick that. So we've got our first feature. Now what we're ready to do is start adding our circular extrudes up. So I'm going to click once again on my top face, right click, go Sketch, click on press my spacebar, go normal 2. We can see that I'm in a sketch, remember, because exit sketch comes up. Now I'm going to draw once again a circle that is going to be dimensioned 4 millimeters. Okay, I'm going to click on the outside of a circle, and then away from there to there is once again going to be 4, and then from here to here once again will be 4 millimeters. Okay, so we have our 4 millimeter circle that's been all fully dimensioned. Now what we did do before is we actually mirrored entities across, but what we can do this time is use what's called linear sketch pattern. So if I could just click on this, and this allows me to basically, we'll pattern this along here by a certain amount of distance and along there. So if I click on my entities to pattern, and I click on that circle, within here we want that dimension to be 8 millimeters. Okay, so look, if we just change the dimension 1, and now we can add a number of different circles to be ready to be extruded. Now also we're going to have the same that goes here, so we can add this in. So if I click on my Y dimension and increase the number, so to 2, and I can reverse, at the moment it's going the wrong direction, so I want to reverse that, and once again that will be 8 millimeters. Okay, so we've done that. We've clicked within here, that's the distance between the circles, okay, and that's the amount. So we just change that, and then I can green tick that. We can see we've got our circular thing. So if I click on isometric, that is all ready now to be extruded. So we exit out the sketch, we go feature extrude, we click on the circle, and again we're going to extrude these up this time by 2 millimeters, merge result selected, and green tick. Okay, so that's all ready and correct. Now we've got to add our shell. So if we go to shell feature, okay, and we'll click on our bottom base there. But remember, we can't see anything, so we tick show preview, and we want to add a dimension of 1 mil. So now we can actually see exactly what's going to happen. If I green tick that, okay, fantastic. Now once again, we're going to add our final part, which is at the bottom here. So we click on our bottom face, so we'll spin round, click on our bottom face, go sketch, normal 2. We'll click anywhere within here, okay. Now I want that first of all to be, we can add some dimensions, so that's 8 mil, yep. And once again that was also going to be 8 mil because we want it to sit right in the center of all these circles. Also, remember before it was 5.6, okay. And then we can add our final offset feature of 1 millimeter in the reverse direction. And green tick that. And then we're ready. Okay, so we've got our sketch feature there. Now we're ready to exit out of our sketch. And we're actually ready to extrude it. Okay, so if I click on there, and it will be 2 millimeters because remember we've got our 1 millimeter thickness there, and then we've got a 2 mil there, so therefore it becomes flush with our final face. So I can green tick that. Now we've got all of our things. There's one thing that's obviously missing at the moment, is that this object here is a patterned along here. So before we did use a sketch pattern, but I just want to show you another tool that's called linear pattern, which is a 3D feature. So we can feature 3D objects, and we can pattern 3D objects. So how does this work? Well, first of all, if I pattern direction, if I select in here, I'll select one of these edges because I want it to go along there. Features to pattern, this is the big one. Now I want to make sure if I go down, click on the plus here and select my last feature, okay. And then what I want to do is reverse that direction. But at the moment we can see that obviously our distance isn't right. So if I click on 8 millimeters and we want to have 7, okay, featured within there. Click on number 2, okay. Green tick that. Now that will select and create all of my features within there. And that is our bottom brick created. The last final thing to do, obviously select up here, we go across to our appearance, right click on red gloss, high gloss, and we have now finished our red brick, and we're ready to move on to the next part of the tutorial, which will be the front brick. So I'm just going to first of all, before we do that, file, save as, and we'll go to our desktop. To remember, we created our toy car CAD floor brick, we'll call this, and we will click save. Okay. Now we're ready for the third part of the tutorial, where we will be creating the front brick of the car. So this will be slightly different. If I just open up this file quickly, we can see that we've got this kind of slope area on here, and as opposed to before we created our parts from the top plane, as I said, it's important sometimes we don't necessarily start on the top all the time, and we're going to be starting by creating a sketch within our right plane that will then extrude out, so we can include that, have that feature of the slope to edge. Okay, so now we're ready to move into our new part. So we'll just get out of here, just move out of there, close that down. No. Okay, discard. So if I minimize that for now, I'm still keeping all my basic bricks open at the bottom there, and we're ready to create a new part. So file, new, part, okay. Now I'm going to maximize this. Right, so as before we've created everything in our top planes, now we're going to go across and create something in our right plane. Same process again, right click, go sketch, okay. Now we can create our sketch. So we're going to use our line tool this time, and what we're going to do is first create a line across, okay. that is 24. We want to add a dimension to that of 24, just so we've got the correct sizing. We can zoom into that. Now I'm just going to drag that up like so. Now we've got the rough, that's the longest part of our brick. Now we're ready to start creating the rest and other features, which we can just do as one. If we just draw the rough kind of shape so it goes across like that, across like so, then down, and then make sure, remember if we hover over, when we're in line with this, we want to make sure that we're going down straight. We can see those two relations there. So this is straight horizontal, that's across. Now we've got our rough shape. Now we can ready to add the dimensions to our part. So we go once more to smart dimension. First of all, I'm going to add my dimension here, which is 10 mil. Okay. Then we're going to add a dimension here, which is 8 millimeters. Then we're going to add the dimensions to here, which is 2 millimeters. This will then hold this angle here. This line will be defined from all of these other dimensions. And that is our brick profile that we're ready now to extrude. So if we exit out that sketch, okay, and we go across to extrude boss base. Now once again, this brick is, these all bricks come together. So we remember last time that our base of our brick was 60 millimeters. This time our extrude's going to be 60 millimeters. So if I put 60 mil into there, green tick, and then we can green tick that, and there we've got the basics of our brick. Okay, so now we're ready to add once again our two round extrudes on the top. We do that in the same way. We've got our plane now ready to sketch on, so we can right click, go sketch. Okay, and if I click on my spacebar, normal 2. Now what I'm going to do is just insert one. Okay, so one circle, I'll add my dimension of 4 millimeters to it. Then once again, this is 4 mil from here, 4 mil from there, and 4 millimeters from there. And I'll green tick that. Now we don't have to do that. If we go up to my center line, so we click down on this arrow, click select center line, and if I hover along this line, guys, it will show me the midpoint. What I want to do is select, when I hover over it, it goes orange. Select that, and then we'll create a center line that goes bang down the center of this, and we can use our mirror tool to mirror this feature. So I'll select the arc, and then we'll go mirror about, and my mirror about line is going to be there. Now I can stick on my spacebar, go isometric, go features, extrude, and in here I'm going to put again 2 mil. And we can go green tick that. Okay, so we've got our two features here, without one extrude, 2 extrude. Now we're ready to concentrate on the bottom part of our feature. Okay, so what we're ready to do is use our shell tool. So we click on shell, show preview. We'll put 1 millimeter in here before as well, and then we'll click on our bottom base and green tick that. Okay, so now we can see that's nearly ready. Now if we notice, if we on the other part, there's actually once again there's two circular features on that. So what we need to do is add them in to our part. So but this time we're going to, as opposed to drawing from up here, because we've got this sharp edge, what we need to do is we need to draw our circular extrudes on this face here and extrude up to the next part. There's an option on here that we can use to extrude up to that feature. Okay, otherwise it'll be a bit difficult to kind of try and extrude something from that flat edge because it will go off at the wrong angle. We need a nice flat edge to use, so we're going to go sketch. Right, I'm going to use the sketch in here, so I'm going to click on here, go sketch. I'm going to click on my spacebar, normal 2. Now I'm going to create a circle, okay, that's somewhere like so. Now once again, that was, remember before, 5.4. And we had an offset of 1 on that, so that's 1, but going reverse in that direction inwards. Now that once again wants to be in the center, so from there to there, that will be 8 mil, okay? And then from that edge to that edge will be, I'll try 8 mil, like so. Okay, So we've got 8. Now what I'm going to do is we will draw a center line just down the center of here. Yeah. And we will mirror this feature again. So mirror, click on select and select. Set mirror about, and we'll select there, and we can green tick that. Now we'll mirror right down the center. Now we're ready to just use our feature. Okay, so we'll exit out the sketch. Now we'll go across to extrude feature, and then we'll click on them. Now notice, if for instance, I'm going to go ahead, don't copy me for this, but I can't put in a value. The problem is because these, you know, it won't just stop at the edge I want it to. So if I green tick that, it just looks a bit wrong, doesn't it? So what we need to do now, if I go back into edit feature, there's a feature up here. As opposed to blind, we can go and use the up to next tool. And what that does, it just makes the extrude go up to the next surface, which is really useful. I'm using that time and time again when creating models. So now it won't go all the way through, it'll just go up to the next surface. I can green tick that. That then leaves us with our fully finished front brick. What I'm going to do first is we're going to select the brick, right click, add appearance, okay, and we can go file, save as, and I'll go to my desktop, toy car, CAD, and we'll go front brick. We'll call that, and we will save. And now that leaves us ready to move on to the next part of the tutorial, which will be creating the steering wheel rack and also the steering wheel itself. Right, now that we've created the first bricks, the back brick, front brick and our base brick, we're ready to start and create our steering wheel part. Within this, if we go down our parts that are all brought into this assembly, we notice that some of them actually have a green brick on. That basically means that they are an actual assembly that's been brought in, and we can use this for our advantage, you know, where there's replicas or parts. For instance, you can see the wheels, they're all the same. So basically we only need to create one assembly for that, and then we can bring it in time and time again to save ourselves time. The steering wheel also is an assembly, so let's look at this in more depth. Okay, so if it's called what's a sub-assembly, so if I look in here I can see that it's got 2 parts to it. So I'm just going to open this up. Now we're first of all going to create the base of the steering wheel, as you can see there, and then we're going to create the main steering wheel itself. Okay, that will then be brought together within an assembly. This actually, when it is brought into our other assembly, will then be called a kind of sub-assembly. So let's start off with our base. So we're going to go File, New, Part, OK, like we were before. We can go a bit quicker as well today, because we've used these commands before. So I'm going to go into top plane, I'm going to go Sketch, I'm going to go up to my center rectangle, and I'm going to create a part that once again is 16mm wide, okay, by 8mm, okay, and we're going to go exit out of that. If I go into my, click my spacebar, isometric view, exit, feature, extrude, and we will raise that up by 3mm extrude, and I'll green tick that, okay. Now we're ready to once again shell, so we'll click on our shell feature, 1mm, show preview, select that bottom face so that's removed, and we'll green tick that, okay. So there we go, we've got that now. Now we're ready to add our final detail into that main kind of part. So we're just going to click on the bottom face here again. You can see that there. Right click, sketch, click on the spacebar, go normal too. It's a bit different in size this time, so we're going to click out here and I'm going to input a distance there of 3mm. So 3. And then we're going to offset that distance, this time by 0.7. Okay, so but we'll reverse it so it's inside, and there we go. And now we're ready to extrude that. So exit out my sketch. If I keep my sketch selected, I can go extrude, and this time it's 2mm. Green tick that. Okay, great. So there we go, there's the base. Now we're ready to move on. If I go back into my steering wheel quickly and we just have a look, we can see this extrude here, okay, but it does actually have a feature that's a circular. So I'm going to show you how we add that, okay. So we're going to go onto our top plane there, go sketch, we're going to go normal 2 again. First of all, we're going to put the circular feature in, and that is actually included by using the circle tool. And we're going to draw just a shape out like so. And I'm going to add dimension to that of 5mm. Okay, so then we can start adding the straight lines, and what we're going to use is our trim tool to remove away unwanted lines, so we're left with the shape that we require to extrude. So I'm going to just draw some rough kind of lines up here, and then just make sure it all kind of oversets the circle itself. Okay, so this line here is going to be 4mm, this line here is going to be 1.5mm, and once again that one doesn't really matter as long as it's overhanging basically this area here. Now what I'm going to do is just going to go center line, and I'm going to input a center line that goes from there to there, which we need for our trim tool. Now we're going to use the trim tool, guys, because we've got kind of the shape roughly there, but there's all these lines that are making it a mess, and we need a quite neat area to be able to extrude. So I'm going to go trim entities, I'm going to click on power trim. Now power trim allows me to, if I hold down on the left mouse button and drag through areas, our lines will then cut up to the next line. So that's why I put the center line here, so it allows me to just cut. So you can see here, what I'm going to do is remove away those lines, so I'm left with this neat kind of area that's all fully dimensioned. We can see it's fully defined. So I'm going to green tick that. Now ready to mirror entities, so I'm going to click on mirror entities. I'm going to select the lines that I want. Okay, so we'll green tick all of these. Implement all of these. Select copy, mirror about, remember that's our center line. Green tick that, and now if I go to isometric, we're all ready to extrude. So I'm going to X out the sketch, I'm going to go feature, extrude, and we're going to extrude that up by 11mm, so green tick that. Now if we notice, if we go back into our original, okay, it's got an actual, on the steering wheel, we've got this edge, and you're thinking, how do we implement that? Well, that's a feature called Extrude Cut, and I'm just going to show you how we use this. We'll be using this for the first time, so do bear with me. So we're going to select this edge here, and we're going to cut across, okay? So we're going to go sketch, I'm going to go normal 2. Okay, well then here, we want to select a line tool, and now I can hover over, I can select the center of that line, okay? And I can select that point there. Now, I'm going to just draw a line that goes anywhere along there, because we're going to add the dimension to that line and back up to there. So we're going to smart dimension that, go to there and add a smart dimension of 4mm, and now that's fully defined and ready to cut through, okay? So I'm going to go feature, extrude cut, yeah, blind, making sure it goes through all, so we'll just put through all in there and green tick that. Now we're left with a face, we're ready to do our final feature of extruding upwards, okay? So I'm going to click on this face here, I'm going to go sketch, and I'm going to go normal 2, and we're going to implement a sketch into the part. So we're going to go center line first, so I can see, I want to be able to see the center line of my part that goes up like so, and I'm going to add another center line that goes across from there to there, okay? Didn't actually need that first center line, but we can add in now a circle that if we hover over, yep, you can see I can pick up the center of that line, and we're going to add a circle in that is 2.4mm, okay? And we can see now we're ready to use our, so we'll exit out, we're ready to extrude it. We're going to do something different now. We're going to extrude 2 ways, okay? So we go to extrude boss base. Now, first direction, which is that direction, I want you to select up to next, okay? So it'll just go up and extrude out, so we've got this little kind of nice curved area. Now, in here we can actually go a second direction. So if I click into direction 2, this allows me to go basically out the other way. So what I'm going to put in here is 3.5, and that will be enough. And that's the area that our steering wheel is going to sit on, and I can green tick that, and there we have the base of our toy car steering wheel. So I'm going to go File, Save As. Actually, before I do that, we'll just add the color so it saves us. I'm just going to go down here, we'll go white high gloss, add appearance, then I go File, Save As, and we'll go to our desktop, toy car CAD, maybe we'll call that steering wheel, I'll just go base, yeah, There we go, save. And that concludes the steering wheel base tutorial. And in this part of the tutorial now, we're going to start by creating our actual steering wheel that we'll then bring together with our steering wheel base within an assembly to join the two together. Okay, and as we can see, let's just open up our steering wheel. I'm going to talk a bit more about it. We're going to be learning some new tools within here, circular pattern, so that allows us to draw one object or feature and then pattern it around a central axis as we've got here. Okay, so we can see our axis 1. Right, let's get underway. So I'm just going to close that. Now, if I go File, New, so we're going to start a new part. Oops. File, New, Part, okay. And I go to my, first of all, we're going to draw in my front plane. Doesn't really matter so much with this one. And we're going to go circle, okay, and we're going to draw a circle that's the same size as our shaft axis that we created on the angled face before. So we want that to be 2.4, okay, and we can zoom in now to that. And what we're going to do also is add in a kind of offset of 0.7 for this. So I'm just going to put offset 0.7. I'm going to green tick that, and we're ready now to feature extrude that. I can feature straight. I don't have to exit the sketch. I can go straight across to feature extrude. I'm going to put 3.5 in there and green tick. Okay, so we've got that. Now what I'm ready to do is select on this face here. Okay, I'm going to create offset. If I actually, what I can do is I can offset now features from the 3D model. So I can go, if I'm in a sketch, and I go offset there. And I'll offset that face just by selecting that line by 3 mil, and I'm going to green tick that, okay? And then I'm going to offset this, okay, by 1 millimeter. So that's 1 millimeter, green tick that. Then we're going to go feature extrude. So again, we'll go the other direction, 1.5, and green tick. Now we've got our 2 parts of steering wheel ready just to do our final part that's then going to be revolved. So if we're going to go to right plane, I'm going to go sketch. Now what I want to do is within this, if I just click on this button here, which will cut a kind of object in half. So I'll just do that one more time. So if I'm on my right plane, okay, if I've got that selected and go here, this will just make it a little bit easier for me to see. Okay, so if I select and it will kind of section view through. And I can go normal too. And what we want to do is have our part that goes obviously, so using lines we'll go from here, this point here, okay, to this point here, to this across to this point here. So what we'll do is we'll click there, start by drawing a line that goes across from there to there, you can see. And then I'm going to draw a line that maybe goes from there to there, okay. And then I'm going to join them up, so like so and like so. What though I also want to do is, because we're going to extrude this, if that extrudes out, I don't want there to be a gap down here. So what I'm going to do is also add in a kind of, I'm going to offset this line here by 0.2. Yep, 0.2 will do, and then I green tick that. I'm going to join that up to there, join that up to there. But what we do need to do is I need to delete away that original line, okay? And what we can do is just check that. Right, so that's all okay. I'm ready now to extrude this. So if I exit out of the sketch, go feature extrude. And then if we go mid plane, and we want to put in a distance of 0.5. So what mid-plane is allowing, it means it goes out equally each side. Okay, so that's actually a little bit too thick, so it's 0.25. Yeah, that's a bit better. Right, so if I click on there, green tick that. Now we want to see, if I untick on that, we can see my feature there. Like so. So I'm just going to measure that, evaluate. Oh, I can actually see though, I've done the features the wrong size. I wanted that to be a thickness of 0.5. So I'm doing that on purpose so I can show you that we can actually go back in and right click on here and edit the feature. So to edit the feature, we want to go right click, edit, and we're going to change that now to 0.5. Yeah, okay, it's got a bit thicker, great, wicked, and it's all okay now. Now we want to do our circular feature right around there, so we're going to use our circular pattern. So we're going to go down here though. First, what we do need is our center of our center axis. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to go to reference geometry, axis, okay, and within here selection, select this inner surface, and then that will create an axis that runs down the center of that, basically, of that shape there. So I'm going to green tick that. Now we've got our axis. Now I'm ready to create my feature. So go down to circular pattern. Okay, features to pattern. Now if I click on this plus here, select the last feature that we created, and within here we want to select our pattern axis. Okay, at the moment I've got 9 in there. We don't actually want that. We want 3. We want 360 to be selected, and we want equal distance. And then green tick that. There we go. And that's created our steering wheel. Next, final step, guys, we just select the appearance over here, and we will select our color. So black, add appearance to part, and then we're ready to save. So file, save, desktop, toy car, CAD, steering wheel, wheel, underscore, wheel. Right, there we go. Save. Okay, so now we've got that. Now make sure that your steering wheel part is open and your steering wheel base, okay? So what we're going to do actually is I'm going to show you a little bit about assemblies. So I'm going to go File, New this time, and I'm going to go to Assembly. All the parts that are open here, guys, so do make sure they're open, will appear in your assembly. Otherwise, you've got to go rooting through and find them for yourself. So it just makes it easier if you open everything that you're going to have in the assembly up before you do start the assembly. So go to Assembly. Okay, right now we're in our assembly. First thing, when we come into an assembly, it will begin assembly. Okay. Now what I want to do is we want to bring our kind of we can see all my parts that are open here. If I just show you that now, if I close them down, the ones that I don't need, now I'm going to close that, discard, front brick. Yeah, so just close all these. I'll just show you that. So, okay, now we're left with our 2 parts. Now, if I go back into my insert components, which is a screen we first had, we can just see we're left with the 2 parts that are open. I just wanted to show you how we can get these. If not, we had to go into our browse section. So what we want to do now, first things first though, we want to make sure that everything comes in. Basically within our assembly, we have our front right top plane. And I want to make sure that aligns with the parts that we've already got. How do we do that? So we go View. First of all, I want you to go View to Origins, so we can see our origins. Because the first part we will bring in will be fixed. Basically, we can make it move around, but we want it to be fixed. So that's going to be the base. So if I select my base over here now, notice, yeah, we can see it there. We can see that the base actually has an origin too. We want those 2 origins to line up like so. How do we do that? If I now hover over near to the base, see it clicks into place. And what that means is my front top right plane is there will align with my front top right plane of my model. Okay, so that's important. Now I'm ready to bring in my steering wheel. Okay, great. So those are my 2 parts. Now you're thinking, how do we bring these together? So first of all, we can rotate and move these parts by using these objects up here. So I can move this around and around. Notice though I can't actually move this one. As I said, that's fixed. The first part we bring in will always be fixed. Now what I want to do is rotate that around. Now we want that to fit onto our extruded surface. So how do we do it? We use what's called the mate tool. So if we go to mate up here, and then we go to mate selections. Now I'm going to select, first of all, we can select a face. So that face, that circular face there. I can select the circular face of that, and notice what happens now. They come together. Great. Now notice I can still move this, so I can rotate it around that axis, which is pretty cool. That's exactly what the wheel will do, but it doesn't move, does it? Like so. So what we need to do is tell Solidworks, well, actually we'll go to our mate tool again, and we need to select that face at the bottom there, and actually that and that face are kind of touching, aren't they? So if I green tick that, we can make faces together, we can make circular, cylindrical objects together, and so forth. So if I green tick that now look that my steering wheel just rotates around there, which is exactly what I want it to do within real life. And that concludes the steering wheel tutorial. I'm just going to save this as, actually it would be in a saved document, and we'll go toy car and we call it steering wheel underscore assembly, and we'll save that, and that concludes the steering wheel assembly tutorial. Right, we're now ready. In the next tutorial we're going to create our wheel center along with our tyre for our car, and then we're going to bring them together within the assembly feature. Okay, so let's just have a closer look at our center axis. So we can see here we're going to use some more tools this time. We're going to use what's called the Revolve tool. The Revolve tool allows us to basically draw a profile and create kind of circular objects. I mean, you would create a bottle in this way, a wheel, alloy, and so forth. So we can draw a kind of section view of it, rotate the section view around, and central axis. Okay, so what we're going to do this, we're going to go File, New. Again, we know how to do this. And we're going to draw this time in our right plane. So we go across the right plane, sketch. Okay, so our center axis, from bear in mind, will be our point here. Okay, so first of all, we're going to draw a line that will go across. That's going to be 5 millimeters long, right? So we'll zoom in like so, just drag that up. It's going to be 5. Then we're roughly going to draw on lines. Okay, so we're going to draw a line that goes up here. This line is going to be 3 mil. Then we've got another line that goes across like so. This is going to be 3.5 mil. And then another line up. Which is 1 mil. And another line across. Again, there will be 3.5, and we'll just run quickly to round about that point there, and just draw a line that goes straight, so it's straight in line with there. Okay, because what we do want to do is have a center line. It's going to go like so. We're just going to add the last final dimension. So we've got that. We want that to be 3.5. We want this to be 1. This is pretty important, all these dimensions. And then once again, that is going to be cypered. Sorry, it's not that one. I want that one to be 1. Okay. So then that will fully define. So that one actually is 4 degrees, but it doesn't matter for now. And we can add in one more dimension in, which is 1 for there. Okay. So now what we're going to do is mirror these points. So that's half of our wheelbase. So we're just going to mirror these entities up here. So we're going to click this line, this line, this line, this line, and this line. I'm going to mirror these points about this line here. Green tick that. And we're ready then to actually, I want to get rid of this one and this one. Now we're ready to just draw a line that will finish it up and close up our area. So we go down like so and across. Okay. And then there is our fully defined area that we're going to rotate. So I'm going to X out of there. And I go down across to features. And in my reference geometry, I'm going to create an axis that's along this line here. See? So that's where the point that we're going to rotate around. Then I go, once I've gone in there, I'm going to go into my Revolve boss base. I'm going to select the sketch. Okay. And now, in here, this is the important part. I'm going to clear this option and axis of rotation. I want to make sure I select that axis. So if I click down on this plus, I can select the axis from here. And there we go. Then that will rotate my part all around the central axis. Now we've got some more features to add in. We need the hole here for cutting, extruding cut that's going to fit onto the chassis. And there's another front feature here that's extruded out. So if I just have a look onto the front, you see this part here, we need to extrude that out as well. So if I go into my axis, okay, I'm going to click on there, I'm going to go sketch to this front axis. First of all, I'm going to draw a line, circle that's 4mm. Then I'm going to draw another circle that goes out to this edge here, so it's roughly 4mm. Okay, great. Now I'm going to draw a center line that goes up through right to here, and then we're going to offset that either side, so we can put 0.5 in here, and I'm going to select, make sure the bi-directional select, so it goes 0.5 from each side. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to just trim this. I'm going to basically trim this down using my power tool. So trim, power trim, left click, and then trim that down there, and then trim just up to there. Now what I'm ready to do is I can use my circular pattern to rotate this around the central axis, these two lines. So I'm going to select that, I'm going to select that. If I just, in here, I want to just select my central axis. We can select the circle, sorry. And then we want to have number of items 4, and green tick that. So it doesn't work, so one more time. Circular sketch pattern. Okay, so my entities pattern there. Number 4, yeah, green tick that, and there we go. There we've got my entities. Now we just need to tidy up our sketch a bit by using the trim tool, so we can get rid of all these kind of lines in here. So it's one enclosed area. Okay, we can see that. Now that's perfect. Green tick, feature, extrude, and we'll extrude that out by 2mm. So green tick that. Now we're just ready to add in the last feature. So we go into here, onto this face, go sketch. Oops, I've got to accidentally exit out the sketch. Go sketch again. And we'll go into here, we'll go 3. And we'll go feature, extrude cut, and I want that to be 8mm. So it's going to cut in. Okay, so we cut away. Now we're just ready to add our material. So I go across there, down to my material, select yellow high gloss, right click, add appearance, and now we can just file, save as. Oops. File, save as, and then we'll put wheel center. Oops, we go into toy car CAD, wheel underscore center. There we go, and save. And that concludes the wheel center tutorial. We're now ready to create our tire, and then we'll assemble our center of our wheel and our tire together within an assembly. Okay, so our tire with our car, it's a pretty simple operation. It's extrude, then it's a chamfer, then a cut, a through, and then what we're going to do is use the circular pattern tool to pattern that cut around in order to get the kind of tread effect. Okay, so just close that down, and we'll close our tyre down. No, scarred. Okay, so we've got our center axis there. Now we're going to go File, New, Part, okay. And what we're going to do in my front plane, okay, so if I imagine my tyre was sitting on the table, I can imagine it standing up, so we'll put it in my front plane. I'm going to draw a circle first of all. So my first diameter, so it'll fit over the top of the chassis center, so we'll put 10 in there. And then what we're going to do is go offset that by 4mm. So we want another tyre that's offset by there. And what we're going to do is simply extrude. We could delete that as well because that was bi-directional. So we can go feature, extrude, and then I want to just extrude that by 10mm. So green tick 10, and we're left with what looks like a polo. Okay, so now what we're ready to do is add a chamfer in. So down here we go down to chamfer. Now what this chamfer allows us to do, if we pick an edge, it'll add a kind of edge to it. At the moment I can't see it, like in when we're trying to do a shell, it's too big basically, that value. So if I click on 2, that's actually what we're going to use, and I want an angle of 2 and 45 and on both edges. So what I want to do is select both edges like so, and then that allows to add a chamfer. So I'm going to green tick that. Okay, so we can see kind of the tyres coming together now. Now, obviously, as I talked about, we want to add our cut through to add for the tread, and then we're going to just add our circular feature, circular pattern. So within my front plane again, I'm going to go to sketch, and I'm going to go normal 2. I'm going to draw once again a centre line that goes up, okay, to there, and I'm going to draw a circle that goes up to there. And again, I'm going to use my offset tool. I don't want to make sure that circle isn't selected. Okay, so press escape and go offset, click on the line, and we want to offset those lines 0.5. Okay, green tick that. Now what we do want to do is have a line that's going across. Okay, so I'm going to just draw a line that making sure that goes straight, and then once that line's gone from that point to there, I can basically add a dimension from there to there of 7.5. okay, so it's a certain distance up, and now once again we can use our trim tool to trim down there. Okay, trim across like so, and then we're left with our area that we want to cut. I can X out the sketch and go to Extrude Cut. I want to select in that area there. But it's not working at the moment because there's a reason why. Because of the trim, I didn't trim down these sections. So that's what we can do. What I need to do is, you can see I've got no options at the moment to extrude it. So I need to go back into the sketch, and what I do need to do is just get rid of, you see these little lines here, just trim them away. Make sure that everything's gone. Even a little detail like that can basically cause problems. So I can X out there, and then I can go across to Extrude Cut. And now, look, it was working. And I go through all, and then we can green tick that. Perfect. Now what we're ready to do is pattern our feature all around there. So, like before, we'll just add in an axis. You don't have to do this, it's just good kind of practice. I've got my axis. I'm going to go across to linear pattern, circular pattern. Number 1, I'm going to pick my axis. So, like before, we can pick our axis within here. Features to pattern. Now I'm going to select my extrude cut, and I'm going to put the number 27, maybe 27 in here, which will do. You can see my pattern's been, my feature's been patterned 27 times around. So I'm going to green tick that. Might take a little while. Okay, great. Now we're ready to add the material. So we'll go across to here. This time, as opposed to plastic, I'm going to go down to, there's actually a rubber material here. We'll go matte rubber and add that. And then I'm going to go File, Save As, Desktop, go to Toy Car, CAD. We'll go to Wheel, underscore Tire. Okay, and save that. Now we're ready to create the assembly for our wheels, okay, because there are 4 of them. We want to be able to use this over and over again. I'm going to go File, New. And I go Assembly, OK. Now, first of all, we should have our wheel center open in the background. OK. I've got 2 wheel centers open, so I might actually go and I'll just close one of them because I don't need both of them. I think it's that one. OK. And we can open that up again. Insert components. Now we've got both of our. First of all, I'm going to bring my wheel center in. Now I'm going to go View again, Origins. OK. Bring that in like so. So it snaps to it. Then I'm going to go Insert, Wheel Tire, drag that anywhere. Now all I've got to do is go Mate that inner circle with that outer circle, like so. And then that face there with that face there. Green tick, green tick. That brings together my wheel. So I'm just going to save that as, if we go to Desktop, Toy Car, CAD, okay. Wheel, underscore assembly. I like to name everything, make sure you do so. Save. Okay, and that concludes the tutorial for the wheel chassis and also the tire. We're now ready to start on the final part of the tutorial, which is creation of the chassis here, as we can see before us. Okay, so I'll just open up that part. to see what it contains. So a number of boss extrudes and then finishing up with a mirror. And that's the final part. Then we can go on to our final assembly of the car. So we're going to go File, New, Part, OK. We're just going to go into our top plane here and sketch. First of all, I'm going to draw a center line that is 8mm up. OK. It's a reference for me. 8mm that way. And it goes also 12mm this way. Okay, so first of all we're going to have a line there that's 2mm, then a line here that's once again 8mm. As you can see, that's not straight, so I can make it straight by clicking up here and clicking on make horizontal. I can add in 8mm on there, and now I just want to join those two lines up. And then basically all I'm going to have to do now is just mirror those entities. So click 1, 2, 3. As you can see, they're black, so they're fully defined. And I mirror them about there. And then we've got our part. I just need to add in one more line, a solid line, so that it will extrude. Now I'm going to go feature. If I go into my isometric, go feature extrude, and we're going to extrude that up by 1mm. Okay, green tick. Now I'm ready to add my extruded circles, so we're going to just draw a circle anywhere there like before. You should be pretty used to this by now. 4mm, okay, and we'll click on that line there, 4mm, that line there, 4mm, and then we're going to go across the center line, mirror entity, so that is going to be mirrored across, and then we're going to go feature extrude up by 2mm. Green tick that. Okay, brilliant, superb. Now we're ready to create our other extrude. Now I'm going to teach you something new actually, is how we can basically use a tool convert entities. And what that will do, if I just select those lines there, notice I'm not even sketching anything, and I go to convert. What that does is converts those lines into a sketch within the sketch I'm in. And then I'm going to go to offset. No, don't want to select that, go to normal 2. Then go to offset, select those lines. I'll set them by 1mm in my reverse direction. Green tick that. Now what I want to do is create a line that goes straight down from there to there, okay? And then we're going to trim it down. So trim, trim, trim. And we can feature, now X out of there, we're going to go feature extrude up by 3mm. There we go. So that's half. Now we're ready to add in this feature here, so we're going to go normal 2. I'm going to draw a line, center line, that goes up from there down to here. I'm just going to draw a circle that goes down the center of there, that is 3mm, because remember we done our extrude cut 3mm before, 3mm, and then remember we cut it all the way through was 8mm, like so. Green tick ready to set onto. Okay, great, we're nearly there. So we're going to go mirror, select my, first of all, my mirror plane. So that's going to be right plane there. I'm going to select all of, within my features to mirror, we're going to select all of my features, so that. So 4 features, and then in my right plane is in here. If you get it wrong, you can always go delete and then select whichever plane you want, but right plane's the correct one. Again, we green tick that. And we're left with our part. So now we're going to colour our part. We'll go back up to our plastics, okay. We'll go dark, plastic, high gloss, dark grey, add appearance to part. Oops, I'm going to select that actually. We'll do a light grey, add appearance to part, great. You can see though, it's actually, because the mirror was selected, I'm going to add appearance to that as well. So it goes away. Now I can go File, Save As, Desktop, Toy Car, CAD. We'll go Wheel, Chassis. Save. Okay, and that concludes the final part of the tutorial. In the next one we'll be learning how to bring everything together. Hello, welcome to the final part of the tutorial, which will be the assembly of the toy car that we've just created, all the parts for. But before we start, what we need to do is open up all of those parts, okay? I'm going to go down here, I'm going to go all files, I'm in the file where I'm going to go, well, I've saved all my parts, so I'm going to just select them individually, which ones I want back brick, floor brick, front brick, I want the steering wheel assembly, I want the wheel assembly, not all the separate parts, and then I just want the chassis. And then I'm going to go open for that. It'll start, Solidworks will bring all the parts open. Okay. Now I'm just going to minimize all of these and we're ready to start our assembly. So I'm going to go File, up to here, New, and we're going to go to Assembly, OK. And now I'm going to maximize this. Now, once again, we want to view an origin so we can see our origins. And we're going to bring our floor brick in first, OK. So I'm going to click on my floor brick and make sure that aligns with our original origin. Okay, now I'm going to go into Insert Components, and this time I want to bring all my other objects in. So I'm going to bring my back brick, Insert, floor brick. Nope, we've already brought that in. Front brick. Okay, so we'll start off with these parts to start with. Okay, and then we'll move on to the other parts. First of all, it's rule of thumb. It's good to orientate stuff roughly in the right direction. So I'm going to use my rotate components up here. Rotate components, just rotate this around slightly and green tick that. Now I'm going to go mate and I'll click on this face here. I'm going to start with my back brick. Yep, so that face is in line with there. Then this face is in line with here. And then that face is in line with there. Green tick that. Okay, and then once again, this face here is in line with here. And then we want to do that face will go down with here. And then roughly that face will go with there. So you can't see it so much move, but it did. Now that's great. That's the beginning of our car. Now we're ready to start by, we can insert some of the other components. So we'll just go the steering wheel. Okay, we'll use that. As I say, we'll concentrate one part at a time. Now I'm going to rotate this around. I could bring like so it's roughly in the kind of orientation. Otherwise Solidworks has a tendency for kind of messing things up, which I don't want. So I'm going to actually go to my view and turn my origins off, so getting in the way. I'm going to go to my mate selection. I'm going to select that back face there. I'm going to select that face there. Okay, so those two align. This face here, this face here. So imagine like kind of in real life how it would interact the parts and align them up like that. And then that face there goes in there, green tick that. Okay, now I'm ready to bring the wheels in. So first of all, we'll start with our wheel chassis, okay, but I'm going to bring more than one of the chassis in. So what I'm going to do is pin this down, and this allows me to bring multiples in, okay. So I've done that. Now I'm going to go rotate objects, so they're once again they're in the kind of right orientation. Then we're going to go mate, okay, so that face be with that face. Then we want to do, I'll do that face there with that face there, great. Then that face there with that face there. So that's our first chassis on. And then we're going to go this way, face here with that bottom face. Okay. And now if you do get something wrong, say I've done that and then I go, oh yeah, green tick. Oops, no. Green tick that and then that. And I realise it's wrong. What I can do is go over to here and I can clear my selections and then I can start again. And then I can go from there to there. Nope, see that's gone round the wrong way. Now what I want to do is undo that. Now I want to make sure that we're all aligned here, so that's correct. Now all these features that I'm doing, my mates, all are down here, so we can always edit them. We can right click, you can delete them at any time. I know that mine are all correct so far. Okay, now I'm ready to just bring in my final wheels chassis, so oops, no, wheel assembly. Now what I will do is once again put down pin down, because I want 1, 2, and then I'll put them roughly by where the wheels go. Now notice that they're not, some of them, half of them aren't the right way around, so I'm going to go rotate. That's going to be rotated around like so, clicking on it. Again, that's going to be rotated around like so. Green tick that. Now I'm ready to make these all together, so we're going to go remember I can clear selection. I want to get the inside of there with the outside of there, so it's cylindrical. That face there with that face there. Notice also that that then allows the wheel to spin around that axis, where you can actually do kind of motion analysis within SolidWorks as well, which is pretty neat. Okay, so we're going to go like so. Remember, it's so useful to use your mouse in order to orientate stuff using the keys that we've learnt. So here and here, green tick, that face there with that face there. And there we go. So then if we go into my isometric view, there we go, then that concludes the creation of our car. We've just got to do one more thing. We'll go File, Save As, then we'll go Car, and we'll underscore Assembly. And we will save that then. And I'm John Fiddler of Modeler, and that concludes the toy car tutorial.